Moon Meander shouldn't say it's in the bag because he's been here before against one specific man on the roster of Heroic. Isn't that right, Avery?
Talking about Hector?
I am talking about Hector.
There's been a lot of Dota players at TI that have played against Hector, and they underestimated Hector, and then Hector knocked them into the lower bracket, or he eliminated them from the lower bracket. I do not underestimate Hector at TI.
No, you do not. You have been adamant. You said this man finds a way to make top 8 at TI. And you would be absolutely right about that. At TI 9, Infamous, they made top 8 by beating the North American squad of Newbie. TI 10, well, we'll not talk about TI 10, but TI 11 on Beast Coast, they managed to make it top 8 by beating Evil Geniuses. And then last year, they actually made top 8 through the upper bracket by beating none other than Tundra. They beat Tundra last year in this exact same format. Managed to take down Tundra in order to get upper bracket, and then they went down to the lower bracket, and they made top 8 there by beating... Do you remember?
No, actually no.
He was playing on Nouns. It was the North American Derby where it was Shopify had to play up against TSM. TSM beat Shopify. Then they had to play up against Nouns, which had Moon Meander and Whitemon on it. So there is a lot of history here with Hector and this squad of Tundra, both the organization and individual players.
I think this is where he shines. There's something about these clutch, like, first 2 rounds of TI matches that this man, his playstyle just excels. And I think it is the consistency, right? If you look at Hector, he always finds farm. It's something that Heroic play around, and their other cores are going to come to expect. As Davai Lama already putting in work with this Marcy. We'll talk about that in a minute, but to me, it's a big piece of the puzzle you have to crack with this team. I would never assume Heroic are underdogs in these types of matches, even if on paper Tundra has been the far stronger team in recent tournaments.
Yep.
You don't want to let this team get away with their playstyle. Cause the chaos around the map, Schofield's making space, Davai Lama's diving you under towers, KJ's getting deep wards, and all of a sudden Hector comes out of the jungle with 2 items on your enemy carry. Like, that is how they're going to win a game. Tundra need to control the pace, control the map, and just play their style of Dota where they get farm on all 3 cores and eventually just steamroll you in the 5-on-5.
Absolutely should not underestimate a South American squad at TI. They have caused many an upset in the history of this tournament, and we saw probably the worst looking of the South American squads in Beast Coast already managed to do a little something there against one of the best teams in the world, and Falcons taking him down in that game once. So definitely Tundra. I mean, you got some veteran players on here. Maybe Soxa didn't play with Tundra last year, but I'm sure he watched what happened there, and I'm sure he has told his team not to underestimate these guys and not to underestimate the Davai Lama Marcy. You said you wanted to talk about that a little bit later. I mean, we've seen this combination before, too. Snapfire plus Marcy.
It is deadly. We saw how much burst damage comes out with the extra hits coming in on top of the bodyguard. This lane combination is ferocious. Kind of reminds me of, like, the Timbersaw Lion lane that we've seen a bit. The amount of spells you can just throw out consistently over 5 minutes and the amount of burst damage that can come out with the synchronization is extremely high. So you can't just, be up on the side trading and find yourself caught in no man's land. You're going to get bursted down. And we have seen Davai Lama just go ham with this hero. He has dominated lanes with Marcy. And the biggest factor to me is he has found a huge amount of net worth on this hero that I think people just don't expect. There's been games he's leading the net worth chart at 15, 20 minutes on a hero, in theory, that has no real farming tool. So you cannot give him a good start on this hero. He does a lot of work with it, and you can't underestimate it. Like you said, Tundra, to me, they do have a lot of veterans on this squad, and I go back to Thompson here. You're starting kind of your upper bracket run, in theory. This, to me, is a player where, I mean, you play against this man, flip a coin. Like, you're either going to get him on, some mid-Shadow Shaman and he's 0-8, or, like, he's playing Dawnbreaker and he goes 20-0 versus you. He's Invoker, he's styling on you.
Will it be Dogson or will it be Godson?
Yeah, it really is a coin flip in some ways, and it feels like it's out of your control. Like, it's in his control, right? How much he shows up on any given day, what he's playing, what new way he's going to play it that you might not understand, and in some ways your best strat is to just pray that he doesn't do what he's done to a lot of other teams in this tournament to you on any given day.
Yeah. There is something about this matchup mechanically, the Snapfire Marcy. What's really interesting is this bodyguard facet. If you actually link up with the Snapfire,
yeah, this is the combination.
This is the combination. You use the little shredder. She does these multiple attacks. They count as attacks, so Bodyguard will trigger if you're standing next to each other within that Bodyguard AoE. So this combination is very dangerous. We've seen Divine Llama put it to use, and it's been something that has been largely unsuccessful for Heroic. They actually have terrible win rate with this Marcy, but it's something that maybe they figured out just in the nick of time because they brought it here at this tournament. They've only played it one game so far. Prior to this, they did take down Gaming Gladiators in the group stage with it. So it's definitely something that maybe that didn't go the best early on in the season, but they figured it out in the nick of time.
I mean, I don't know how much stock I put in that. I feel like at this point, every team in the world is taking down Gaming in the group stage. That doesn't necessarily mean that much. So far, though, lane's going Tundra's way. They have the top 3 net worth cores, top 3 CS pretty much, and they're getting the Enchantress roam to mid with the Weaver, who's pretty independent. This is a kind of explosive support duo between this Mirana and Enchantress in terms of the roam potential mid, and it's not something that often you want the Templar Assassin to play into. This is the big impediment for Analog in terms of getting his hero up and going, converting into Ancient stacks on the triangle later. Enchantress is just the king of early roams to runes and invading the triangle, getting deep wards up, snowballing off some support kills. Heroic really need to keep checks on these supports and make sure this TA has a good game. Already, though, he's just getting dominated on that CS chart. Thompson is putting in the work one-on-one. There's been a little roam action a bit, but honestly, this Invoker, 17 denies. With the extra
crazy
deny XP you get off of the innate.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. That's a good point. Shot down. Whitemon does die here, so Heroic are still picking up kills, but you can see from the net worth, it is not changing the fact that CS-wise, Tundra is walking a pretty big lead ahead. And now they've got this big push coming in, but they're so afraid of their Wisdom Rune getting stolen, they're actually going to back away and 3-man bodyguard this one. Pure's going to go for it because the Weaver is one of the best carries to try and contest this exact situation. They're going to try and pull him away from this Wisdom Rune, see if they can get it. Manage to hit the stun, and Divine Llama gets it, but now he's low. Hit by the tornado, he's going to come back down to Earth and have a hard landing. So does KJ. King Jungles goes down, and Schofield, the 3rd man down in this fight. Yeah, they got their Wisdom Rune. They protected it, but losing 3 heroes in the process, it was not worth it.
And Analog can do nothing but watch his team go down. This is just not the early skirmish hero that you want in these fights, unless you can just run people down. Just doesn't have spells. Tundra bring the numbers, outmaneuver Heroic in this early laning stage, and are building a significant lead. And I was talking about the experience differential. I mean, it's starting to add up. Thompson's like a whole level ahead of this TA just in the one-on-one. He's already pushing towards 8. This is a hero that can just get out of control because you get the extra levels, you start building up these extra quas points early. Your spells are stronger, your lifesteal stronger, you're insanely tanky with the early Wraithband treads. This is not the Invoker of old that you can just start right-clicking to death in this early part of the game. Like, Thompson's gonna fight you back here.
Yeah.
He might be the strongest hero on the map right now in terms of just a straight-up duel.
Do you think this is a situation where Heroic, they went very greedy with their cores? The panel was talking about it. If they're doing core Marcy, that's going to be one hell of a greedy lineup. Well, it ends up being core Marcy. And we saw Divine Llama, he goes like kind of just this carry Marcy build. He doesn't go like auras or anything else. He's going to go BKB. He's going to punch you in the face. Like, are they going to be able to fight Tundra if they lose the lanes and Tundra starts snowballing into this 15-20 minute window?
In theory, it could get pretty bad. Like, if you really start to close out this map with the Invoker running around, the Enchantress Mirana can connect to any of these plays. You get arena'd, you're worried about an arrow coming through, potential Sunstrike on top of that. Yeah, it could get nasty around the map, but the onus is on Tundra to snowball, right? If the map gets shut down a bit, if Heroic can stall out this early game, they can recover.
Divine Llama, I think he spotted the Ghost Walk or something, knew that the Invoker was here, but ultimately his retreat was into a dead end. No support was going to TP in to help him out. Snapfire is now there to pick up the experience and gold of the creep wave pushing in. Ramsey's pushing in the creep wave on the other side of the map. Tundra seem to have full control of this game.
They are getting the tower pressure they want, which is this mid and bottom. The last piece of this early game for Tundra is going to be, can you invade and take away the stacks from this DKTA lineup? Because you're talking about how can you stabilize and recover with the greedy cores here. Yeah, I mean, it's your stacks. It's your ancient stacks in particular for these 2 cores.
Yeah.
If you lose enough of the map here that you can't secure those, you are going to start bleeding a lot more than just supports around the map. But Divine Llama, he TPs down here, finds nothing off this play. Hector, not happy about the early game. This man does not like when his teammates start feeding around the map.
And Pure, he goes through the gate with Divine Llama, follows him everywhere he goes, kills him, and gives him a tip too while he goes down to his grave. Now the Templar Assassin is going to start clearing through those stacks, yeah, but if your other two cores are struggling, like there's only one set of stacks. There's only one core that's going to be able to farm them. What about the other two?
I mean, that might have been what Hector was yelling about. He's like, you take my stacks. Someone's getting off this team. And it's usually not me.
Usually.
Thompson's just so strong right now. He went this early Witchblade as well. He is going to do some serious damage. Just run into anybody across the map, hit him with this Witchblade, just force him down. You're going to have either support that can connect to you. And then this Weaver is just going to be able to play solo. Like, you don't have the best ways to set up on him and actually all in him. You can harass him, but your stuns are pretty limited unless you're bringing like multiple supports or the DK, or you get this TA shard later. I think that's a big piece of the puzzle here for Heroic. How fast can you get this TA silence up off the traps?
Yeah.
To kind of deal with the Invoker, deal with the Weaver. But his game has just been so slow. You are starting to lose some towers.
Oh, great Ice Path on 2. They needed some serious setup to be able to make these kisses land, and it's still not enough. And now with Ramses coming in with the arena, he hits KJ with a spear once again. He is making no qualms about just dropping this arena whenever he wants to pick up more kills, pick up more farm off of an already successful laning phase. They do manage to push Tundra away from their tower for now. But they are going to start bleeding out more and more objectives with this kind of net worth lead. Tundra rocking a 5K net worth lead at 12 minutes.
You have the Midas on Hector. Interesting choice. Maybe he feels like this early game's so rough, you got to recover and just push this ultra late. I mean, I guarantee you he will be highest net worth at some point in this game. It will happen. Will it translate into anything productive? I don't know. The game might be in too bad a state, but he will find his farm. And for Tundra right now, the biggest objective is this tier 1 mid. They want to force this down, open up the ancient area, get rid of this tower and this zone that the TA can fight around, because if Analog loses his tower, he's going to be stuck in no man's land. Right now, you can still fight around this, set up your traps, and get a good engagement. No snap ult, though. It's going to be hard to repel. These ranged heroes are just going to start putting in the work here. And
they've got great supports to defend towers, but there's only so much you could do against a like 3 or 4 man squad of Tundra that's bullying you and has a net worth lead. So eventually those towers are going to drop. That's the second one that Heroic have lost. And if they lose that offlane tower, then you lose full control over your ancient area, and that's going to be free for Tundra to invade at will.
I think a big part of this meta has been the rise of ranged cores in general.
Yeah.
But also just this concept of a ranged hero with long-range nukes, because you can start to force people out of areas. And I think it's one of the things Heroic are going to feel in this game. Like, they have a Jakiro who's pretty low range. You have to be fairly
Is that enough? Oh, so close. 20 HP.
Like, this dual breath compared to things like an arrow setup or something, you know, it's a bit clunkier to execute here.
No doubt.
And the Marcy has to get in there. The DK kind of has to get in there. This TA needs to get in there. Meanwhile, Tundra just running around with Invoker, Mirana, Ench. Like, they can start to poke you down, see what's happening. Plays like this, you're scouting out, getting information at fairly low risk.
Yeah, speaking of getting in there, Mirana and Enchantress can play in your jungle, and Heroic really do not have the heroes to go for the punish. You saw how easily Saksa was able to evade Divine Llama's attempts.
Need the TA Blink and Shard to really close the gap on these heroes and convert.
Play for your 15-minute timing, I guess. Well, Hector's trying to build up what net worth he can, but he's struggling to catch back up to the Tundra cores, who are all sitting at the same net worth, 7,300. Never seen such parity before.
And all these stacks have gone to Analog. I don't think Hector has seen a single one. And I do not think he's too happy about it, but I mean, that's where the Midas comes in, I guess. Maybe part of that decision. Like, if I'm not going to get stacks, I got to get the extra experience somewhere.
Strategically speaking, like, why do you think Heroic opted for such a slow-paced lineup? Because I do not think of Tundra, they're maybe not the fastest of the European teams, but they are a European team. Like, you know they're going to be able to pick up the pace. I just question whether or not the greed, this was the team you wanted to go greedy against.
I mean, there's not a lot in this tournament you're going to do much better against. So, right? Like, there's a lot of European teams left in this event. There's a lot of teams that are going to play strong laning phases. If part of your strategy is to get a little greedy and try and outscale your opponent, I mean, it's not like there's a lot of good matchups for you in the event in general. You're going to have to just plow through some of these teams that are going to take advantage of it and have a lead and just make the recovery at some point.
So if you have a play style, you kind of have to just rock it and find a way to make it work.
Committing. I mean, if that's how they want to play, then you just have to go with it, right?
Yeah.
Will it work? I don't know. It doesn't seem super favorable in the meta right now, but if there's a team that can maybe make it work, it is Heroic in terms of the comeback potential. However, right now, this game has all been Tundra. They are just continuing to swarm the map, and nothing has shut this Invoker down. Thompson is just running around absolutely free. No sentry trap set up. Limited detection. He's getting what he wants right now.
Yep, and what he wants right now is Hector's mana and a forced rotation. Divai Llama TP's in. The rest of Heroic are making a mass move over here, but are they going to be able to grab anything? This time they do manage to get the stun. The Ice Path lands onto Thompson. That is a better target than any support, and they will manage to bring him down. The Kiss is looking for more heroes. You saw the long lobs there of fire, trying to look for additional heroes. They do not get anything else out of it, though. So Heroic, okay, 5-man rotation to be able to kill Thompson. It's maybe worth it, but I would say barely.
It's worth it. You need to get this hero off the map. Like, he is the biggest prize right now. Slow down the momentum, relieve some of the pressure on your board.
Sox is still around, but so is Ramses. They managed to hit him with the arrow here. Sox has got to be careful. The Ice Path that's coming out hits him, does not hit him, but Analog hiding away in the melt. They don't have detection right now. They are going to be able to blink away before the Gleipnir.
Making some space.
The bug, it reveals the Snapfire, and it is so much minus armor that Schofield dies in an instant. As good as Schofield is at drawing attention and wasting time, that didn't waste any time for Tundra.
I think it'll be interesting to see how Tundra itemizes from this point out. Like, how many BKBs do they want to commit into here? Because on one level, the BKBs help you ignore the supports on the side of Heroic and just power through the fight. But these are some cores on Heroic. Yeah, they're greedy, but they are almost all physical damage oriented. Yeah. So the BKBs don't necessarily help you just man up and trade versus heroes. You kind of want armor, scaling damage, maybe, you know, Solar Crest's Vlads, these type of utility items that are going to help your Weaver and your Invoker man up at some point in this game. Or you can maybe itemize to just kite fights out. Like, bait the Divai Llama jump, bait the TA into jumping into you, and then use the Gleipnir and the bug to kite out the fight. Analog barely dodging another play here.
They're going to need to keep making fast moves like that, though. Schofield, not sure where he was wandering to. He jumps, he just kind of casually leapfrogs over Analog, who was retreating, and takes the brunt of Tundra's attention instead. A smoke up and a fast move by Tundra. Sweeping over to the other side of the map. Are they going to catch Analog in mid? Or are they going to head up to the top jungle area where they know Heroic members are currently existing? Ramses once again goes fishing, tries to catch Analog. Analog too fast on the blink. Hector is underneath the tower right now. And he commits for it.
Job done. Is he going to pay the price?
They'll find Divai Llama, who does not have a BKB, so no way out of this one. Tornado Sunstrike lands perfectly.
That arrow almost scouted him. I actually don't know how Hector got out of there. That was a long TP out of a tier 1 that he just killed in melee form. But I did tell you he'd be highest net worth. And,
yeah, he's getting there.
he's closing in on it.
True to Hector's nature. Almost gets caught, almost gets ganked, almost gets scouted by an arrow. I mean, and his TP is not back to base, it's to another area of farm.
Yes, this is his old play style. He developed it a long time ago. TP to farm.
This is a man who would TP to points on the map just to speed up his farm by like 20 seconds.
Yeah, downside is you can't join a fight if it breaks out. Yeah. But he has no interest in doing that, so it doesn't really matter. And this will recover the game. Heroic have stalled this early momentum out a little bit and stabilized their top 2 cores, but this Marcy is going to continue to suffer unless you can win a fight, and it's looking bleak. I mean, you just have to get the BKB here on Divine Llama, make some kind of play. If you're Tundra, you are definitely looking to steal Roshan at some point. Take it away from the TA here. You are super happy whatever happens after that, because the fight looks great for you. The TA is going to lose that kind of power spike, or at least getting the Roshan clock to start ticking down in this game, and the second life on the Weaver would be nice.
Tundra have so much control of the game. I'm surprised that they have not done Roshan already. Like, they have Weaver. They have a pretty good hero for being able to
I think it's coming up. I think they're going to consider it during this daytime interval. They're probably waiting for the BKB, at least on Ramses here. We'll see if he goes his like patented Deso build that he's really favored over the last few months. Ramses does not like to not be a carry, despite him having to play offlane.
True. KJ, he'll get the shard. Probably not what you wanted, but a little bit of percentage-based damage. Smoke up here from Tundra, and a 3-man gank squad is looking for somebody on Heroic. But Heroic have vacated any of the areas on their own side of the map. Hector continues to do Hector things, and will also be employing a Nightfall impression here pretty soon. As undoubtedly, when he runs down these lanes, he knows it's going to be a BKB TP away.
Just trying to stall as much time as possible and set up for a play on Ramses.
Yeah, Ramses. He throws out the arena with the BKB, turns around. Is he going to try and commit for the kill on Jakiro? No, he knows the damage is too much from Analog. He's just got to get out of here. Cannot afford any pickoffs right now. Schofield's going to try and slow down this push forward from Tundra Heroes, but Ramses, he pounces once again. Schofield hits him with a cookie just to buy 2 more seconds of time before he goes down. While Pure, he already caught Divine Llama, and now he's looking to get more off the Gleipnir. Might be able to get this Templar Assassin. Saxa not able to get an arrow out, but the damage is still enough. They get him on the high ground, and Ramses isn't done yet. Pins KJ for a 3rd kill on this Jakiro. He just will not stop hunting down this support.
Dive the base, get away with it here. Heroic lose 3 heroes. They lose that Hector BKB on the TP back. He can't connect on anything. And Divine Llama's still sitting here wondering what he's supposed to do in this game. This Marcy pick has not worked out at all. Tundra just running circles around it. Still doesn't have an item. And the Hurricane Pikes are coming out. You're going to have Hurricane Pike, Invoker here for Thompson, Hurricane Pike, Weaver here for Pure, and that BKB on Ramses. All 3 pretty strong defensive items in this game. It's just a lot of HP to get through here. You don't have the tools for it anymore. You're running out of time to recover this game if you're Heroic right now. And this gold lead isn't massive, but again, like, your chances to take a fight and get this Marcy back in this game are dwindling right now. And Tundra know it.
Do you think, I mean, you obviously think that the Marcy needs to be a force in this game for Heroic to have a chance? Why can't they just, trust in Hector, let him farm up? He can carry Dragon Knight, just carry this game?
Not against 3 farm cores.
Okay.
I think the way Tundra itemized, like, all of their cores like to scale into the late game, they're all going to be a problem. They're all going to have a lot of control between the Weaver Gleipnir bug, what the Mars is going to bring to the table, the Invoker with unlimited kiting, right? Like, at a certain point in that fight, you were just going to get kited as this Dragon Knight. And this is going to be another BKB down?
Yeah, they were hoping to be able to catch him off the spear. Man, they really almost got him there. That damage was amping up. But
this is an important BKB. Like, you have very limited windows in the fight as this Dragon Knight to get stuff done before the Invoker starts to control your damage output. And every time this BKB goes down, it hurts you a little bit more.
Hector does. I mean, he's just running down lanes constantly whenever his BKB is off cooldown. So
somebody's got to open up the map, and he's doing a decent job. He will get ganked on the other side of the map, though.
And the arrow. Ooh. Hector, he knows that aggro is coming his way, and he quickly retreats back to the high ground. Tundra are not going to catch him sleeping. And that gives Analog some room to push out top, just like Hector was doing 45 seconds ago.
I mean, honestly, I think Hector has played this game about as good as you can play it from his position. But at some point, you have to fight. And Tundra are done messing around. They're just going to force the Roshan, get an Aegis onto Pure, open up the high ground potential on top of the Weaver BKB, opted for that over the Hurricane Pike earlier. I think is totally fine here. don't want to be too susceptible to this TA trap silence plus chain stunning.
Fair, yeah.
And just go for damage. It's going to skip the pike, in fact, yeah. Use the Aegis to propel yourself to a better power spike here, and I mean, the name of the game is just going to be smoke across the map, get a big core pick off, you go high ground off that. Gem for Ramses now, help you ward the vision that's letting Heroic split push the lanes, and
yeah, deal with TA traps as well.
It's been some time since we've seen Heroic try and make a play in this game. Just do not see the openings.
Macropyre missed Ice Path though. Soxa easily eludes that one, and just like his cores, he kind of just runs down lane and accepts his fate. He doesn't have a BKB to get away.
He's also just going damage on this Mirana. Like, it's Dragon Lance for the Mirana into the pike with the Solar Flare on top of everything that we didn't mention, but it's very good for this tri-core lineup and good for the two supports. This is another reason I just don't think you're winning ultra late here if you're Heroic, even if you get to it. Like, you're looking at 5 right-clickers that are all going to be buffed up by Solar Flare.
Yeah.
That sounds extremely difficult to overcome.
Get the spear back. Even if it doesn't come with a stun, the reposition is good enough. Divine Llama jumps in after him, pops a BKB, and finds that 5 right-clickers is indeed a problem for him. As chasing in, Pure, it's some trouble. Chain stun, he's gonna lose that Aegis. Though, Ramses does manage to hit a beautiful pin onto Schofield with the arena locking down 3. All he needs is the heroes to follow him up. He'll die inside of his arena. The heroes couldn't get there in time from the side of Tundra, though they will grab that gem. See if Pure is able to get out with it, though. He's away, out from underneath the tower, no problem there. And away they go. So, a trade-off of Ramses and the Aegis for 2 kills, a gem, not too bad.
I mean, honestly, that there were a lot of little things that went pretty well for Heroic in that exchange. That could have been a game-ending push if I think Tundra played a little more disciplined, slow, and you know, Ramses went in very deep, gets caught by the rebound under the tower. It's a great arena, but ends up just going down as a consequence. Kind of an awkward fight. Hector gets to connect with some big damage for once, get to use a BKB to not have to TP out. Though I guess when you're in your base, there's not far to TP to anyway.
True. Watch that one again. As they start off with a poke, beautiful spear back. They just blow up the Templar Assassin so quickly.
Did force the Mars BKB out early, which I think eventually is what costs Ramses on the second go, but of course you're going to take this every time. TA down, open up the 5 or the 6 on 4. Nice chain stunning here to take down the Weaver. This is a great arena. The rest of the team is just nowhere near. And Divine Llama does get to put in some work here.
Yeah, he's like one God's Rebuke from killing 3 different heroes.
If he had that Deso on
It's true.
This is where he's probably like, I told you guys, the Deso build's broken. Why am I building this Hex? But Hex is the very disciplined choice here. It will absolutely ruin these heroes off the initiation. Like, you can go for the Hex, guaranteed spear back, throw down the arena, and then that fight is very difficult to take.
Yeah, it gives them better opportunity to shut down this split pushing that Hector and Analog keep on doing, relying on their BKBs to get away.
And this is not a game you needed extra damage on Mars. Mirana and Ench will pick up the damage.
Well, you got it. You got it. You got the Wisdom Rune. He's smiling about it.
I mean, honestly, it's probably worth space for Hector.
That's true. More Hector space. I love how Thompson knows that, like, Hector is up here. He didn't show on a wave or anything. But he's like, this guy's up here somewhere. Farming the same jungle that he's been doing nonstop.
All right, I'll pose a question to you. If you're Thompson, and it was like the 3rd time this has happened, do you buy Basher here?
Does he buy Basher? No. No,
I mean, it's Thompson, man. Give this guy a chance to buy a weird item. He'd probably take it.
He buys a second scythe. They can have 2 scythes.
You can't scythe BKB.
Yeah, but he can
bash him.
He can be
You can ruin his day.
Well, you know, now you say it. He's getting to some of those later talents. Alacrity Basher.
Look, I'm not going to say it's good this game, but I don't think it's that bad. Like, you got the Solar Flare attack speed, you know. If you bash the Marcy and her BKB in a random fight, that sounds pretty good. He's already got the Manta.
I mean, ultimately you said the game plan was get Aegis, get a pick off, go high ground, try and end the game, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, they are looking for that pickoff of Heroic Heroes, because Heroic know they can't just sit in their base the entire time. That is the whole entire reason they have managed to keep this network from spiraling out of control, despite the fact the score is 5-21. I think Tundra has never been up more than they are right now, which is just 10K.
Yeah, I think they're very comfortable with their position, but this isn't a complete route. I mean, Heroic don't go away. This is not a team that is just going to fold completely. You have to close it out against them. Next Roshan, I think, is the most pivotal here. Tundra are going to push ahead of that timer.
Hit it with the sight. Follow up, chain stun, spear, and they've got the damage.
That's a huge grab from Ramses. Putting the Hex instantly to use, finds the biggest target. Can't beat TP out of that, my friend.
Well, there's the pickoff to let them take at least one lane of barracks, unless Divine Llama can do something about it, but his jump has already failed, and his BKB is wasted. Tundra have still another 50 seconds to take these buildings.
Life of Marcy versus so many long-ranged heroes.
Yeah.
It is a nightmare to get that gap close in. It should be a laner axe for Tundra. See how much more they can get off this. Still 40 seconds on that Dragon Knight respawn. The Midas levels just pushed him up too far, too fast.
That's true. His death timer is too long. And leads to Tundra going for a second lane of barracks. Forces out the glyph. And resume their assault on the tier 3 tower.
You're going to have another jump potentially from Ramses here if you really want to just stay around. Arena's back up at 25.
Got to jump on a pure, chain stun it, and they managed to bring him down. Wow, didn't lose anybody for it either. Now Tundra's going to start backing away. Mortimer's Kiss is going to be used to try and chase these heroes, slowing them down as best they can. Ramses does manage to get a spear back onto Analog. That'll create some space. Whitemon gets his TP canceled though. Divine Llama fights the second kill. The Ice Path lands onto Ramses as well. They'll get a third kill out of that. K1 Hector, who? They didn't need him apparently. Managed to make a 4 versus 5 work for them. Got 3 kills for nothing out of it.
And the gem off Ramses, and that Roche is potentially respawning soon. So if you can get some map control here, get the lanes in, you got a chance to contest. Huge misstep here from Tundra. It's just an unnecessary push as well, if you think about it, right? Like,
sure.
This second lane does not change the game. This next Roshan does. They just overextend, and I mean, Pure just got caught sleeping. There's no way around it. He gets rebounded into cookie stun for the death. Just not something that should have happened with how much displacement and force stabs and disruption they have in this lineup. And I was mentioning that arena was coming up in 20 seconds. Like, you could have just, you know, waited, push when the arena's back up and let Ramses get another jump. Now this AC on Hector is done. He has the shell as well. So much extra armor on this Dragon Knight.
Look at the network just tumbling down as off of that great team fight, but then also the towers that they got. They got 2 tier 1 towers off of it, pushed a bunch of lanes, obviously got a bunch of creeps, neutrals. All of this adding up, they're going to take a second Tormentor as well, which Analog still does not have his shard. I don't know if he's in contention for this one here.
I mean, he's hoping he gets it off one of these Tormentors.
And he does.
That is value right there.
Wow.
That is really value. The fact he didn't have to invest in this, gets it at a later point. I mean, you could argue, like, ideally you kind of want this item in earlier in a game where you can snowball with kills on the map, but obviously that was never going to be a position they were in. So you will take it at a later point. It could pay off at the second half of a fight.
Yeah, it's not going to pay off in this exact situation, though, because doing that Tormentor signaled to Tundra that Heroic was nowhere near the pit, and they will take that. So Heroic have not managed to use, don't forget, they have that Templar Assassin passive, too, where they know exactly when Roshan is going to be, and have not managed to take it for themselves either time. Tundra go through the gate, smoke, and push to the other side of the map.
Courier.
A courier is about all they'll get as Heroic have...
Hector knows, man. This guy knows.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knows how much extra items are about to come in for Tundra in the next few minutes here, but...
Yeah, what are all the items they're getting?
I mean, there's just so much right-click on the horizon. Like, you're looking at more damage for Pure. You're looking at a Daedalus for this Mirana, if Soxa gets to it. Dragonlance into another Pike for Whitemon. And Thompson, creative as ever, eyeing up a Butterfly here for the right-click Invoker.
Right, for the Basher.
Exactly. He will go Butterfly into Abyssal here, and that'll just completely shut down the map. I mean, it's pretty tempting when you have the Elven Tunic as well.
I'm just imagining Ghost walking into melee range and abyssaling somebody out of
That sounds
Abyss.
ham, dude.
That sounds sick.
This Invoker is going to be pretty nasty in the fight. You're not really thinking about MKBs here if you are Analog or Hector in this game. You put the Butterfly on top of the Tunic here, you're almost at the 50% evasion.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot to just power through here.
Yeah, we've seen some of these Invokers turn to this right-click build. Laurel from Team Spirit did it in the past.
It's strong.
It's strong.
It's very strong in the late game.
Is Heroic strong enough to step up to that? Still a 6,000 net worth lead for Tundra, and they have an Aegis to work with. They've taken the mid lane of Barracks, and they're looking to take this final tier 2. But Heroic, oh, the tornado right as he blinked in for the kill. And now the Manta, oh, he managed to dodge both of the stuns that were coming out from Heroic. Their initiation falls flat, and Pure's going to be able to get off the ultimate, so they are clean here. They're going to be able to chase down Heroic heroes, no problem. Can they get anybody else? A beautiful Ice Path, Macroplier, not too bad. Thompson's dying. Oh, what a trap laid out from King Jungles on the high ground. It's just the perfect ice path to stop what could have been Tundra breaking open the game once again.
That was just a beautiful setup. Maintains his position on the high ground, finds the angle. Didn't even have to use the Dragon Knight BKB, I think. And they recovered the gem, I believe. Yeah, so honestly, not the worst trade here for Heroic. Because, I mean, you're going to trade Divine Llama for anybody in this game every time.
Dude, that's such a Thompson, like, tornado right as K1 Hector.
Him,
then he mantas the attempt, jumped it from Divine Llama.
That was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
So clutch. And then
he ran into an ice pass.
Walks into an ice pass.
I mean, what can you do? That is life sometimes. But I mean, I don't think any of them expected this. So like 2-man ice path into 4-man macro.
No.
And you're just stuck on those trap shards. And the Manta had already been used, and he piked aggressively. Just no way out of that. I mean, Divine Llama's woes continue in this game. This has been a very frustrating game for him.
Oh, yeah.
He is 1-9. He has 1 item. But he has to just keep going in. There's no way around it. Has to believe that they can make the comeback in these fights off the late game physical damage powerhouse that this TA Dragon Knight can propose.
It has to believe in Hector and Analog to carry the game.
It really do.
Certainly will not be him. He's going to be jumping in, maybe stunning one hero.
I will say Marcy's a hero where if you get to that BKB basher, like, you can make things happen, right?
Yeah.
If you find that magical bash on a core hero at the right time, at the right place in the fight, that can be worth a lot of net worth difference.
I mean, we've all seen these support Marcy's, you know, like the game goes a little late, they get BKB basher, and somehow this support with, you know, 10,000 net worth of items is all of a sudden killing core heroes. Yeah. So, Analog, he's going to be swatted once again. Able to blink ahead of Ramses. Blink for blink every single time.
Just can't latch him.
And using the Marcy passive and the couriers, the extra HP on the courier, they've been using these couriers really aggressively. And you see in that situation, scouting out a bit of the triangle area. Ice Path into an attempted stun. Hector not all in on killing Pure. The team not ready to jump on that situation. After all, the Aegis is going to be expiring quite soon. They just want to stall this out.
Difficult to go high ground if you're not willing to commit with the Aegis, which, you know, expiring here, you don't want to just let that expire and be stuck.
Yep.
Did also get the Ags on the Jakiro. Not an insignificant amount of damage if these fights can go long or you're in a high ground defense situation with buybacks. And Hex for Schofield, this is the big one I was going to mention. He was keeping a large bank total here with over 4,000 gold. He will just finish that up.
Mech,
that's a
drums, scythe. That's quite the inventory.
Downside is your positioning in the fight can be a little awkward to use this, but it gives them a lot more chain stun potential. Like now you can DK stun into Cookie into run up Hex somebody and they're probably gone. Thompson did go back for the BKB over that butterfly. Felt like, all right, if I can die to Ice Path TA trap, that's probably a little too much here.
Yeah, maybe the butterfly is a little too next level.
And a refresher for Ramses is going to be a huge item for Tundra. I mean, just double up your arena, double up the BKB site here, get the job done. This is where the Mars becomes a huge late game team fight problem.
Templar Assassin and Dragon Knight in the Dragon form anyway are both ranged cores. Those arena walls, they negate a lot of the damage that, you know, you're trying to throw around in these fights. 10,000 net worth lead for Tundra, 23-9. they've been here before, and they found that one bad fight cut down a significant amount of that lead that they have grown.
And they're going to smoke out, try and find somebody lingering, but Tundra are not going to give them any sort of opening here, and you're kind of running out of slots on this Dragon Knight. Like, you already sold the Midas, you finished the Lincolns here, which is a nice defensive item versus the Hex and these sorts of initiation tools, but it's another slot that isn't damaged. You have to wonder if you're going to run out of it at some point.
I feel like sometimes in these kind of games where you're just kind of holding on for dear life, it's hard to recognize that, like, okay, at some point in time, you got to be the aggressors, and I feel like that time is now for Heroic.
They're poking.
Divine Llama, he's going to jump for it with his BKB. Managed to get the bash onto Ramses, hits a stun onto Saksa. Both are able to retreat a bit here. Divine Llama's going to run out of his BKB with the arena, keeping back the rest of Heroic. He is isolated, caught and killed. An arrow goes out, trying to search for more heroes, but Heroic will retreat back to the safety of their high ground walls.
Maybe hoping for some more follow-up bashes there, just didn't get him. Was doing a decent amount of damage to Ramses. It's not a matchup Ramses enjoys, honestly. Even with the difference in their net worth, like, his kit doesn't do anything to Divine Llama if you get on top of him in BKB. So there is a window there, like we saw, where he can make his impact felt in the fight.
Yeah.
But it is such a small window. And the second your BKB is out, you're absolutely gone versus all these ranged heroes that are going to kite you. There are so many Hurricane Pikes.
So many Hurricane
that Tundra can use. Like, so many Mind Breakers, just Daedalus out of the Marana. This is a nightmare lineup to get caught without the BKB up. Ramses.
Oh, they could catch the initiator of Ramses, but the smoke is going to break on an invisibility.
This is so unfortunate for them. There's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, they can't push too hard on it because they don't even have all their heroes with them. This was just a three-man excursion. Butterfly done for the Weaver. MKB may start become a very value item for Heroic, but will they be able to get any with double butterflies on the horizon for Tundra?
It's a lot of evasion now. Not a lot to get through it, and Tundra are going to take the aggressive option here. Smoke. Again, that Roshan is coming up in the next few minutes. It's a little awkward of a time if this goes wrong, but maybe the smoke is almost a defensive smoke. Like, if Heroic are going to try and contest this, we'll take the fight, but otherwise we just play for Roshan here. And it was the Strength Blink for Hector, which again, pretty tanky here, but not the highest damage output item if it comes down to it. You want to jump him.
Oh, the Manta gets off the BKB, turns around, stuns up Ramses. Now Ramses gets psyched on top of that one, attempt to hit him with the cookie. Pure's going to jump forward, go for Schofield. Schofield, he'll be diced up by that damage. BKB has to go up from Divine Llama as Ramses attempts to catch him inside of the arena with a spear to go.
Pure gets the kill he wants. Fall back, control the Roshan here. Just keep playing around Ramses' initiations. Lincoln's pays off for Hector. Able to Manta dodge the second round of the control. But nobody else was there to help him turn around. Could have been a dangerous situation for Ramses, honestly. Yeah. Did not BKB on that jump.
Tundra, unlike Heroic, do not know exactly when the Roshan's going to spawn, but they know it's going to be sometime soon. Question is whether or not Heroic is going to be able to contest the third Roshan of the game, as it's going to spawn right as Schofield's coming back up. The lanes are being pushed in pretty aggressively. Mostly this bottom lane is the problem. They willing, yeah, they're going to have to give up. So it's going to be Aegis Cheese, Refresher Shard, a banner.
Their best chance to win this game is a high ground defense fight. And Tundra just gets stuck into buybacks, like going deep into the Ags macro, things like this, that really work towards Heroic's advantage. But they also have abilities to just cleanly jump, and they have a lot of damage outputters at this point. The two supports have found a lot. You have a lot of threats in the fight. A lot of things you're going to have to worry about, especially with Solar Flare backing all of it up here and multiple butterflies. You're looking for the MKB on the Templar Assassin here, trying to race towards it if you're Analog. There is no MKB on the horizon for Hector. He has to just tank up more, he feels. Ancient Guardian will give him some damage in the base defense fight. There's another thing going for you.
Third Tormentor, and that gets Hector the Fireball. Not that it's probably going to do too much for you here. Pure, who TP'd to mid to get some extra experience to put him over the line. He is now level 25, so that extra Geminate attack, when he pushes forward and comes out of that Chikuchi to hit somebody, that person could just get kind of one-shot. as 3 different hits all come out at the same time with the potential for crits.
I think Heroic are just gonna jump a core if they show that is not pure with the Aegis. They might jump pure as well. They have to be decisive here because this siege can technically just go on forever. Thompson up very far. Feels secure with Butterfly BKB here.
Gleipnir leading into Tornado. The kisses gets canceled. Now Ramsey tries to jump in, but he gets counter-hexed. Can they blow him up in time? They're trying for it. They throw out all their stuns, but he managed to get off his BKB arena. Now they're turning around. Pure gets a little bit low here off of this one, but got off his ultimate. A second arena being used, surrounded by walls after walls. Hector's not getting out of this one, as all those BKB usages early on means that his BKB does not last long anymore. A second lane of barracks taken by Tundra, and 3 minutes ago on the Aegis.
I mean, these Hurricane Pikes, just such a nightmare for Heroic to fight into. It just bails Ramses out at the very end there. And double arena. Like, nobody can engage the fight to follow up and help Hector at that point. Forces his buyback here. Buyback out of the Vi Llama. You're missing the BKBs. You're missing the Marcy ult. This is just Mega's uncontested.
Yeah.
Tundra continuing to squeeze this game out.
And they're going to keep the pressure up. They're going to go for the tier 4s while Analog is still dead for 45 seconds. Heroic going to have to go for another miracle hold here like they did in the bottom lane earlier. Another 4 versus 5. Now it's going to be a 3 versus 5. They do manage to jump pure, but again, he's got the Aegis. So as much as they can commit to try and finish him off, what does it matter if he's still got a second life right around the corner? And that is going to be it. Heroic are going to call GG on this game 1.
They just got, I don't want to say they got run over, but it did not feel like they had